Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over Kodachis versus Emberblade in the new Ninja Hero Fi. There's been a lot of discussion in the Fab Discord. There's been discussion in my Discord. If you want to join the Ninja Discord, as I like to call it, come check us out down in the description below. But there's been a lot of talk just in general between Syrian Emberblade and Kodachis, like which one is better, which one is better suited. For Fi, is there one that's kind of more optimal, and how do you make this decision point? So the short answer before we get into like the nitty gritty of all that you see on the screen here is it truly depends on the build. I can give you my opinion, and I'm going to on which one I think is better, but at the end of the day, it really depends on your build. You can build towards both of these, and I've been testing and building towards both. So both are technically viable, right? Excuse me, but it's late for me. My short answer is I think Syrian Emberblade is better, and I'll kind of give my reasons as to why. But before we do that, let's just straight up look at what I have deemed as like the positive and negatives to both, right? So you see at the top of the screen right now, Kodachis, like one of the positives for Kodachis is they allow you to go a little bit wider, right? It's one resource for one attack with Go Again as long as you have a 0 in your pitch zone, 0 cost card in your pitch zone. So you can attack for 2 chain links for 2 resources and really threaten to go wider, similar to Katsu, right? The second one is it threatens mask a little bit better. Fi can already go really wide anyway, which is one of my arguments as to why you don't need it. But some people would say, like, okay, I'm going to take Fi, who already can do 5-6 links pretty easily, and now I make him do 6 or 7, right? So you can make it threaten mask a little bit more, which is kind of like that for one of Fi's biggest wing additions. And then the final thing is it can kill Ashwing Dragons for Dromama more efficiently. It helps pop shields with Prism a little bit better, which both of those heroes I think are going to be pretty prevalent in the meta, right? The negatives to Kodachis as it applies to Fi is it doesn't work with cards like Rising Resentment, Mounting Anger, Soaring Strike, Red Hot, Cinderskin Devotion, Uprising, Lava Vein Loyalty, Spreading Flames. There is a lot of cards that require either Draconic Chain Links or require a Draconic attack prior to them. All of those cards are turned off with Kodachis. If you Kodachi and then you play Rising Resentment, it's going to look at it as 0 Draconic Chain Links, right? If you play a Kodachi into a Lava Vein Loyalty will not have Go Again, right? So that's the issue with the card. If you play Uprising beforehand, then attack with Kodachi, it won't work towards it, right? So that's kind of like the biggest takeaway from Kodachis, and why I don't think they're good is because it just turns off so many of your cards, and really hurts it. And the last thing, and normally this wouldn't be an issue with Katsu, but it's an issue with Fi, is it requires 0 cost blues in order to play, right? If you're pitching a blue, you want it to be 0 cost because that's the only way you're going to get the Kodachis off. Now, looking over at my notes, there are some good blues at 0 cost for Fi, such as Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, Lava Vein Loyalty, Rise from the Ashes, right? There's definitely some blues that you can run for sure, 100%, no doubt about it. And Brand with Cinder Claw is another good 0 cost blue. But it kind of limits your design space with blues if you're running Kodachis, honestly, in order to do that. So looking at Emberblade, right? Emberblade main is it synergizes perfectly with all your attacks. Rising Resentment, Mounting Anger, Soaring Strike, Red Hot, Cinderskin Devotion, Lava Vein Loyalty, Phoenix Flames, right? That's the biggest thing, right? Like if you play Kodachi, and then you wanted to pitch for Fi's ability, it would cost you 3. If you had a Phoenix Flame in hand, it still does not have +1 because those were not Draconic links. You'd have to use a card or like Brand with Cinder Claw in order to get that turned on, right? So Emberblade synergizes perfectly with all of your attacks. You don't have to worry about your design space being a little bit limited. You don't have to worry about running hybrid builds. It works perfectly with Fi. Another positive is it can't be blocked on mass threat by Phantasmal Footsteps, Dynamo, Crown and Shield, stuff like that. Like, yes, Kodachis can go wider and threaten mask, but they're easier to block out. Emberblade comes in for 3. They're going to have to commit a card from hand in order to stop mask. Whereas with Kodachis, like a lot of the heroes can use their equipment, right, to really slow you down on drawing mask. And a lot of people have played against enough of Katsu to understand like when to block Kodachi attacks, when not to, and things like that. And the final thing is it doesn't require 0 cost blues, which Fi doesn't have a ton of good ones. you're allowed to play whatever zero or blues you want now. Like you can play Cinderskin Devotion, right, as a blue. You can play a bunch of Dust Runner Outlaw as a blue if you want to. There's definitely a couple blues that you can run that are really useful, right? The negatives of Emberblade is it can't go quite as wide as Kodachis, obviously, and it costs two, meaning that you need a blue in hand in order to play it out most full turns, but you need a blue in hand to play Kodachis anyway, right? So objectively, that's the what I see as the positive and negatives of each side, right? So kind of looking at it, overall, I think that Emberblade is better, and I'm about to give my reason why. And kind of it already kind of points to the reasoning already, but I want to talk about like some of the cards that are really turned off if you don't have Emberblade, and it really hurts. So one is like your basically any card you have that has go again with an on hit effect is going to be turned off by Kodachis, right? It won't work with it. So like Mounting Anger, when Mounting Anger hits, you manage an attack action card with hand costs less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control if you do it gains +1. Riser's Resentment, it's the same thing, except it's one less resource with the card you banish. And then Soaring Strike is you may banish a card with less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control, costs less. If you do it gains go again, you play it in its turn. All of these will not work with Kodachis. They just won't. Like if you play Kodachi, and then this card, it looks at it as Chain Link 0. It just does. So that's one, right? And then you have go again cards, which don't really matter as much. Then you have cards like some of the cards that go get Phoenix Flames. It won't hurt them, right? But like Rise from the Ashes will not work on Kodachis, but it'll work on right. It won't work on Emberblade either, but it allows you to go get a Phoenix Flame and then play a Phoenix Flame for 3. But then if you play Kodachi, like again, you're not the third Draconic Chain Link. Like if you're wanting to use those Rupture cards effectively, which we'll get to here in a second, it really hurts that. It doesn't hurt these cards a ton. The main cards that it obviously hurts are your go again with effect cards and then your Rupture cards. So your Rupture cards here, so like Red Hot says when you attack, reveal a top X card of your deck, where X is the number of Draconic Chain Links you control. So if you Kodachi attack Red Hot, yes, you'll get Red Hot's ability, but you'll only reveal 2 cards. You won't reveal 4 that you could be revealing, right? Rise Up has to do with Phoenix Flames. The problem with as you see Phoenix Flame here, it says if you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, Phoenix Flame gains +1. You can't get that +1 from Phoenix Flame if you haven't played Draconic Chain Links, which then hurts Rise Up's ability, because if are you really going to go get a Phoenix Flame to attack for 0? Like, is that worth it, right? You also can't activate Fi's ability as easy when you use Kodachis, which is really good for going to get Phoenix Flames, right? If you attack Emberblade into attack and then you go get a Phoenix Flame for free because of Fi's ability, but if none of those are Draconic Chain Links, it doesn't work, right? Some of the Rupture cards like Breaking Point do work with Kodachis, it's just fine, but some of your key Rupture cards like Rise Up and Red Hot are going to be hindered if you're not running Draconic Chain Links. But the biggest ones is your on hit effect go again cards, which honestly, in my opinion, are the most important thing to a Fi build. We talked, and I still have the scenes here, right? We talked about the 4 buckets of Fi cards, right? You have go again with on hit effects, which is these cards. Then you have your go again cards. Then you have your go get your flame cards, and then you have Rupture cards, right? The most important bucket of all of these in Fi, in my opinion, are these 3 right here: Mounting Anger, Rising Resentment, and Soaring Strike. These are the core of your deck, right? These 9 cards, and with Rising Resentment, you're probably running blues. So like these 12 cards, right, are super vital to what you're trying to do, and all of them get turned off by Kodachis. And then some people's argument is that it lets you go wider. I can already go wide with Fi. Like with a crappy sealed deck, I was attacking for 5 to 6 chain links a turn every turn, right? Like a bad turn for me was 4 chain links. So like understand that and that you don't need to make yourself go wider. Why don't you try to synergize with the deck perfectly and be able to have a lot of different lines? Because if you're running Kodachis, your deck's going to become a heck of a lot more linear, right? You're not going to be able to play a lot of different lines like you could with Emberblade. That's just my opinion. So but overall, I wanted to give you all kind of an idea, right, of kind of the pros and cons of Kodachis versus Emberblade and kind of give you like my thoughts of it. You can screenshot this, but I put this in the Discord earlier. That is kind of like the plus and negatives of both. You run whatever you want. If you're going to run Kodachis, you're going to have to run kind of a hybrid build of Fi, which I don't like either, but you can. And you're going to have to run zero cost blues. Like you're going to be really limited in your design space with blues. Whereas with Emberblade, you can run anything you want. And it's going to kind of all synergize together. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about like Kodachis versus Emberblade. I personally think Emberblade is just the best for a synergy standpoint. It's not that you can't make a build that will work with Kodachis. I just think that Emberblade is going to be the best for it, right? So let me know what y'all think. Hopefully this made sense. If you like this content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go in our Flesh Spread career so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.